Here are the top 10 hardest games on the Sega Genesis, according to fans of the Genesis. And Mega Drive, number 10 is Target Earth. If I were to describe this game with one word, it would be outmatched. The enemies are constantly swarming from all sides, and for the most part, your mech is weak and ineffective against them. The terrain works against you too, blocking your shots and preventing you from getting good angles on the enemy. There are allies fighting on your side, but their usefulness is debatable because they tend to add a lot of confusion to the screen. One thing you do have going for you is that your health regenerates, so all you need to do is find a quiet place to stand in. Target Earth, more like Target You. Number 9 is Alien Soldier. This one did not get a physical release in North America, but that didn't stop us low-skilled Americans from attempting to play it. It plays a lot like Gunstar Heroes, except you are a much bigger target for the enemy, and there's a lot more bosses, 25 of them. One of the things that makes it challenging is that there's a lot of complexity to the gameplay. You choose between 4 weapons, and each one is selectable on a ring that you can bring up during the gameplay, and you have the ability to double tap a button to absorb enemy shots, and you have a move that allows you to teleport through enemies, and you can walk on the ceiling. It's just a lot to comprehend when you're being assaulted by enemies. So, how did I come up with this list? I went to various places on the internet where people were talking about the hardest Genesis and Mega Drive games. I found those conversations on Reddit, on YouTube, and on gaming websites. I also asked my own audience for their input. I recorded the games being mentioned in all those places, put them in a spreadsheet, and after accumulating around 700 responses, I did some analysis and came up with the ranked list you are seeing today. I did all this work manually without the use of AI, and I am not an AI voiceover. If I sound a little artificial, it's because I cut out the natural pauses that happen within my sentences, but you benefit from that because you get through the video faster. My own opinions did not factor into the rankings of these games. I'm just a messenger in that regard. Although throughout this video, you will hear me insert my own opinions about these games because I'm familiar with a lot of them. As my dating profile says, I'm a Genesis fanboy. I do hope you like this video. Let's get on with it. Number 8 is Gyarus. This one is stunningly beautiful, and in my opinion, it has one of the best soundtracks on the Genesis. It also has a cool game mechanic where you can attach your device onto enemies and steal their weapons. It's kind of like Kirby. If you steal from the same enemy over and over again, it can upgrade some of the weapons. The drawback is that when you fire that device, you can't fire anything else for a couple of seconds, so you're very vulnerable. There are other challenges facing you as well. For one thing, there's a lot of crap that comes at you in patterns that are hard to predict. Also, the backgrounds have a lot going on, so that can be quite distracting. When you do die, it sends you pretty far back. During recording, I kept dying at this particular stretch over and over again, and I could feel the rage within me building up. Still, it's a wonderful game. Number 7 is The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Mr. Freeze is building a massive ice cannon, and he's going to use it to turn Gotham into a winter wasteland. Batman and Robin, of course, want to stop him. It's mostly a run-and-gun game, similar to Contra, with a few other types of stages thrown in. The difficulty is high because there are projectiles being shot at you, and at the same time, enemies are running onto the screen. Those projectiles always come straight toward you like heat-seeking missiles, so it feels like there's not enough time or space to avoid getting hit by it all. Number 6 is The Immortal. I'll speak from my own experience for this one. I bought this game during the Genesis era because I thought the screenshots in the magazines made it look cool, and I also enjoyed the box art. But when I started playing the game, I found myself wandering around trying to figure out what to do, and as I did that, I would fall through the floor, get hit by arrows, and get into fights that seemed to be just a bunch of button mashing. I think that experience matches what other people have experienced. Of course, figuring out what to do is what the game is about. And the instruction manual has a walkthrough for the first stage. What sucks though is that if you run out of lives, you gotta do all those things over again for that one stage. And much like my second marriage, things are never as fun as they were the first time around. Number 5 is Ghouls and Ghosts. Unlike the Immortal, this one I actually became good at, but it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get there. By design, you are supposed to die all over the place until you figure out how to get through each of the sections. Someone playing for the first time is going to get emotionally wrecked, but they may also be a little turned on when they see Arthur in his underwear. The trick is to figure out where all the treasure chests are hidden and to not let the tighty-whities distract you. Many of those chests appear when you perform a jump in a certain spot, and just like the other games in the series, you will have to go through this game twice to get the true ending. Number 4 is Troubleshooter. It's hard to find anybody who has made it to the second stage in this one because the enemies are very powerful from the onset and your shooting can't keep up with them. To top it off, the first boss is almost impossible to beat since it sends out 50 bullets at a time and you have to keep shooting it for about 15 minutes in order to get through its armor. Actually, this is a fake out. I put these in my top 10s because it breaks up the monotony. Troubleshooter does not belong on this list because people say it's too easy. And that first boss is so harmless, he begins the battle by throwing kisses. Number 4 is actually Comics Zone. When you look at message boards where people reflect upon this game, everybody pretty much says the same thing. They say that the concept is great and the music is good, but they couldn't play very far into it due to the difficulty. Here are some reasons people give for it being hard. There is some randomness to some of the item drops, and depending on which item you get, it can determine whether or not you make it to the end or not. Also, when you punch items like barrels, you take damage. And here's the big one. When there's too many things on the screen, the game will sometimes reset itself, bringing you all the way back to the Sega logo. But the people who have beat the game point out that it can be beaten in 30 minutes. They say you just need to think of it as a puzzle game where you have to manage your inventory and figure out the best route throughout each stage. Number 3 is Echo the Dolphin. Aw, what a cute little dolphin. Look how he's swimming through that beautiful ocean. Echo the Dolphin traumatized a lot of kids at an early age, which is why none of them would buy a Sega product again. I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but this is a hard game for any age group. According to people who know this game well, the difficulty is crammed into the first few stages, and after that it levels off until you get to the final stage. Still, no matter what stage you're in, there are no checkpoints unless you're playing the Sega CD version, so if you die, you have to return to the beginning of whatever stage you're in. The puzzles that you have to solve can be very cryptic as well, and also, you do not want to run out of air. Before we get to numbers 2 and 1, let's do some honorable mentions. These are games that barely missed being in this top 10. I'm just gonna read them off in no particular order. Streets of Rage 3. Battletoads. The Revenge of Shinobi. Phantasy Star 2? Kid Chameleon. And finally, Rocket Knight Adventures. And here are some honorable mentions. These are games that barely missed being in the honorable mentions. One of them I want to point out, and that's Undead Line. Some people say that's the most difficult Genesis game ever. It's just that nobody knows about it because it stayed in Japan. So let me know if you have played that. Number 2 is Chakan the Forever Man. I don't know about you, but playing this game gives me a feeling of dread. Even typing about it does. It stems from the music and the graphics and the memories of dying over and over again. The attacks you do are barely enough to kill the enemies, and the jumping controls are barely workable enough to reach where you want to land. There's also time limits that continue to tick away even after you complete sections. So unlike some of the other games I've mentioned today, this one feels unfair, and that causes many people to give up on it. Yes, you do get new gadgets as the game progresses, and you can create your own spells by combining ingredients. Getting a handle on those things might be enough to get people over the hump and finish this game. But it takes forever, man. And finally, number 1 is Contra Hardcore. Due to the Genesis's blast processor, this game delivers about as much kinetic energy as the Big Bang. There are explosions everywhere, things come onto the screen at incredible speed, and the bosses tear things apart. Needless to say, it's hard to dodge things, and it's hard to anticipate what's going to happen next, at least without playing a bunch of times and memorizing everything. So yes, the game delivers the top spot due to its nightmare difficulty, but what do you expect from a game that has hardcore in its name? The levels are actually pretty short, so they kind of had to concentrate the difficulty to keep people from beating the game too quickly. One tip people give is to know when to use your slide move, which I totally forgot about when capturing this video. Another tip people give is to watch more top 10 lists from the Gaming the Systems channel. There's about 30 of them. Thank you for watching.